All right, so this is chapter 2, lesson 2, preparing a budget sheet. Okay, so when we're preparing a budget sheet, you basically have monthly expenses every single month. Now, those monthly expenses are, if you have a car, so auto insurance, any gas that you might put in your car, if you're paying rent, or you have a house payment, utilities for that house or that apartment, gas that you're buying for your car to go back and forth to work, any pocket money that you might spend, so dining out, going shopping, anything like that should be in your monthly expenses, as well as your groceries. So you can use your records from past expenditures to prepare a budget sheet outlining your total monthly expenses. You will want to calculate your living expenses. These include amounts for food, utility bills, and pocket money, and they will vary from month to month. So basically they vary, which means they're never the same every month because you don't spend this exact same on groceries every single month. Okay. Other expenses such as rent are more fixed. They stay the same usually every month. You might have a rental agreement that says the price will increase after a certain amount of time, but usually the rate is fixed every month. So those are called fixed expenses because they don't change, okay, from one month to the next. Also, you want to consider any annual expenses. So a real estate tax, which only occurs once a year. If you have a house, you might have a house tax or something along those lines, okay? So your total monthly expenses equal your monthly living expenses, your monthly fixed expenses, and your monthly share of annual expenses. So you just took all your annual expenses and you divided them by 12. That actually gives you your monthly share of annual expenses. And that's how you find that. So you take all your annual expenses. So your life insurance, your home and renter's insurance, your car insurance, real estate property taxes, things like that. They're usually annual expenses. You pay for them once a year. So you're going to divide that by 12 to figure out your monthly expenses. Okay. So example, the Millers use records of their past expenditures to complete the budget sheet in figure 3.2. After calculating their monthly share of annual expenses, find their total monthly expenses. So their monthly share of annual expenses, if we go down here, here's 3.2. Okay. So their annual expenses are right here. Here's their annual expenses. Okay. So life insurance, home and renter's insurance, their car insurance, their real estate property taxes, their car registration, and their charitable contributions. So when they do give to charity, they just count that in their monthly or their annual expenses. I add all these up, that equals $3,759, okay? And then I'm going to divide that by 12. When I divide that by 12, because there's 12 months in a year, that gives me $313.25. Okay, so $313.25 is their monthly. Okay. Now I'm going to take their monthly living expenses, their monthly fixed expenses, and their monthly share of annual expenses. So I can find all these right here. Okay, so their living expenses, their fixed, and their annual. So $1,089, $1,078, $313.25. I add those together, and that gives me my total monthly expenses of $2,480.25. That's the amount that they're spending every month, okay? Or about average of what they're spending every month. All right, so I want to calculate the monthly share of annual expenses and find the total monthly expenses for the following two. Okay. So again, like we did up here, the monthly share I divide by 12. Okay. So their annual, I'm going to divide by 12. So let's start with the first one. Here. Okay. So monthly, I'm going to take 4,200 and divide it by 12. That gives me 350. And then I take the 350 plus the 670 plus the 800. 50 plus 670 plus 800, and that's 1,820. So that's their monthly expenses. and this was their monthly share. So they did the $350 for monthly sharing, and then their total expenses for the month were $1,820. Okay. So for number 2, I have an annual of $3,494.04, and I'm dividing that by 12. 3,494.04. And then I'm going to divide that by 12. Gives me $291.17. And then I want to find my total monthly expenses. So I take the $291.17 plus $475.75 plus $679.65. That gives me $1,446. $446.57. So those are my 2 answers for number 2. Okay. So basically you're taking your annual amount, you're dividing it by 12, and then you're adding your annual, monthly, the living, and the fixed expenses all together. Okay. So looking at this budget sheet, here's my monthly living expenses. When I add all of these up, I get $1,089.89. Okay. My monthly fixed expenses, so your rent, your car loan, savings, anything like that. I add all this up, I get the $1,078. My annual expenses, I add all those up and I divide by 12 to get my monthly share. Okay. Now my net income is going to equal whatever I normally make. My living expenses, my fixed expenses, my annual expenses, I add to get my total monthly expenses, and then my balance at the end. So I take my net income minus my total monthly expenses, and that's my balance at the end. So for lesson practice, you're going to use this figure 3.3 to answer the questions. Okay. So you're going to have to find the totals here, the total here, the total and the annual, the monthly, the net income that she has, the 2,600 is already here. And then you're going to have to find the annual expenses, the total monthly expenses, and the balance. You're going to have to fill these out to answer the questions. That total is going to go here. Okay. So you're actually going to be able to, most of these, like once you have them done, fixed, and then of course your, oops, what, nice. So that, and then you add them all up, that gives you your total monthly expenses. And then you're going to take this net income minus your total monthly expenses, and that's going to be your balance. Net income minus total monthly expenses equals your balance. How much you have at the end. If you have a negative amount, you spent too much money. You're living above your means. If you have a positive amount, then you're good to go. You have money left over. Okay. So you're going to answer questions 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.